Hello everyone that will be watching this in the future. Um, my name is Osnachi and I'm going to be taking this session. So I'm just going to share my slides I prepared for this session, right? Then we'll do a quick demo and that will be it. So my slides should be coming up in a bit. Yeah. All right. So taking you guys on a session, visual tools for machine learning, and this is supposedly the last session of the bootcamp, right, Joshua?
The one to the last.
All right. So this is one of the last sessions of the bootcamp, and I'm honored to have been invited by Joshua to impart this knowledge that I was able to gain through the student ambassador program. So visual tools for machine learning using Azure AI document intelligence service as a case study, right? So there are, from all the sessions you've had, I'm sure that most of the speakers must have explained what machine learning is and what it entails. From the session before my session, which was taken by Salim, I was able to follow through what he said, what machine learning was, and he was able to explain the machine learning studio. But this session focuses on a low-code service or a low-code tool that you can use to do machine learning on Azure, right? So it's called Azure AI Document Intelligence Service, right? I've already introduced myself, but just a little bit more about me. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Gold, although I've graduated, which means I'll be leaving the program soon. These are just a few last acts of service I have to do. I'm also a technical writer and an open source contributor, right? And not to brag, but I can do 50 push-ups at one go, right? Okay. So Azure AI Document Intelligence Service. So this was previously called Azure Form Recognizer, right? But it's a pretend computer vision model that uses OCR, optical character recognition, to extract data from documents. So if you've used modern mobile devices like iPhone now, if you take a picture that has text in it, you can highlight that text and copy it, right? You can do that for pictures, you can do that for, well, mainly pictures, right? So this OCR service also exists on the cloud. It also exists on the cloud and it comes as Azure AI Document Intelligence Service. So it allows you to extract the same way you extract text from a picture you take up with your phone. If you're using iPhone, this should be seamless. It's the same thing that will happen, but this will happen on Azure Cloud, right? So the general use case is for analyzing forms and documents. So imagine you go to a hospital and you're given a form to fill out using pen and paper. After you fill out the form now, a nurse might or a clerical staff need to take that same form and put it in a computer, right? So instead of doing all that, you can use artificial intelligence to reduce the time it takes to move the data from that form to a computer, right? So you can, from all the data you get from your documents, you can now put them in a database and be able to search through them, right? And well, basically automating business processes. So reducing time it takes to collect data in your organization and similar operations. So what kind of forms and documents are we dealing with? We're dealing with things like passports, ID cards, receipts, invoices, basically all kinds of documents, both handwritten and digital, right? So we can work with all these kinds of documents. and extract data from them. So the document intelligence service in action. So say we have this invoice that was submitted to our company and we want to make it digital. Right? We're not giving a digital copy. So if we use that from document intelligence service, to be able to extract the information in this document, like you see the invoice number as 3427435, blah blah blah. It's the same thing here. The invoice date was collected, the charges, the VAT ID. So all this data will be collected and put in JSON format. Right. So this is just another one. Right. So when we do the demo, I'll show you the full picture. But the whole idea is to take a document and run it through the service, and you get the text on that document. It's a very simple thing, but can be very, very beneficial to businesses. So how we use this from document intelligence service, we can use it through several methods. If you're a developer, you'll be familiar with REST APIs and SDKs. So using these two things, you can interact with the form recognizer service and perform operations on it, right? But if you're not a developer, I want to use either of these, the form recognizer studio or the form recognizer sample labeling tool. This one is much easier to use and it's direct. Yeah. So both of them are both clients that talk to the form recognizer service. So we'll be in this demo session, we'll be using the form recognizer studio. So up to the demo. And our demo is going to happen on Azure. So I'm just going to stop sharing my slides.
Sorry, I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear anything.
Yeah, Miss, I can't hear
Can you
anything,
guys hear
John.
anything?
I
Oh,
can
okay,
hear
okay,
you,
all right.
but I can't hear what the slide is saying.
Okay, I think my internet got disrupted. Please, where did you stop hearing me?
All right, so you were trying to quit your slide and then take us to the form recognizer studio.
All right, all right. Let me just do that now. I'm just going to share my full screen. So I'll share my browser. Excuse me. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right. So just going to go over what Form Recognizer Studio is. I'm assuming that attending this bootcamp, you guys were able to activate Azure for Students at least. Joshua?
Yes,
Were they able to?
so for Azure for students, I think a lot of them have been. test it with their school even, especially for
You see, a lot
email
of
is
them have been what?
You said?
I didn't get what you said.
Okay, I said school, the Azure for students. So many of them have been facing issues to access the credit for that.
Oh, so how are they able to access Azure?
Well, when most of them were not able to access Azure, yeah, I think most of them, but some are.
Okay. Okay, so for this session, I'll be using Azure Portal. If you do get access to Azure, you can follow along with what I do at a later time. Right? But if you don't, I guess we should find a way to make you have access. Okay, so I'm assuming some sessions have already gone through Azure Portal before, so this should not be new, right? So the first thing you would want to do to work with Form Recognizer is well, there are two ways of going about it. You either go through Azure Portal or you go through the Form Recognizer Studio directly. So this going through here is more direct. You don't have to worry about. Did I call it Form Recognizer Studio? Sorry. They still have that name, Form Recognizer. It was previously called Form Recognizer, but now it's called Document Intelligence. But either way, if I say Form Recognizer, don't set me on fire. So you can go through the studio using this link. I think it's always going to be this link. Even if the link changes, this link will redirect to the new one. Right. So if you come to this studio, this web application, you'll be able to see all the things Form Recognizer can do. Right. It can extract data from invoices, receipts, business cards, IDs, all sorts of things, right? And the power of the Form Recognizer Studio comes in your own data, analyzing your own data. So I think let's go through a previous project that I have done. Not saying my previous project. Let me go here. So the power of Form Recognizer Studio comes with you extracting data from your own company's data, right? Be it a hospital, be it a government agency, a school, all sorts of places you can build document intelligence for it. And this optical character recognition technology has improved throughout the years. It will be able to recognize handwritten text without problems, right? I think that this is having issues loading. Am I still in a meeting? Okay. So I just want to show you the kind of documents that you can train the studio with, and I'm having loading issues. Okay, I think I can switch back to my other Wi-Fi. I think my sign-in is messed up. Okay, so here, custom extraction models. So I've done several projects before. It's all basically the same thing. Okay, basically two
Sorry, we can't.
projects. That's my screen.
Yes.
Let me stop sharing and reshare. Okay. Can you see it now?
Not yet. Okay, yeah, it's off now.
All right, so I was able to go to the custom model section, right? Custom extraction model to show you a previous project I've done. So I've previously done a Lagos State, okay, I deleted the project. A Lagos State tax form project. Let's see if it's still there. Okay, this is still there, right? So just going to go over how you do it on your own end. So this is what the document looks like. What the document looks like. So this is a document from the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. It's basically an income tax form, income tax form document, right? So the idea of this document is that you fill in the different fields, right, and submit to the government, or you submit to the agency office, and they'll take the data and determine if you paid your taxes or if your taxes were computed correctly, that kind of thing, right? So instead of them going through the hassle of looking at these documents one by one and putting it in a digital format, that if they want to put it in a digital format, they can simply label 5 of these documents and be able to train a custom machine learning model to be able to run it on thousands of other documents, right? So if you've done work on machine learning, you would know that machine learning requires data, something called training data, right? Um, Training data enables you to train a machine learning model to recognize future instances of what you're trying to predict or what you're trying to analyze. Right. So for this documented intelligence we're doing is what you call computer vision. And computer vision projects deal with image data. Right. So this PDF is basically an image. It's basically an image where we label different fields. And when we label these fields for at least 5 documents, we'll be able to recognize the files for other documents. So so we just did a few labels here. Did first name, middle name, and last name, title, and salary. So we can also add the contact, right? And this is loading. So we can choose to add more fields. Right now, only 5 fields are labeled. We can choose to add more fields by clicking this add field. So we can create the field and call it phone number. Right, then we can then click this draw region and be able to get the phone number. So we've labeled phone number. It's like a new field we labeled, right? Can do it for the other documents. Just going to do this manual process. So I'm actually showing you the demo of how it's done, but I'm not showing you how I provisioned this service and deployed everything. Although this Form Recognizer Studio, it simplifies most of that. If you are going to go through the Azure portal, you would have to do some manual work because this service requires an Azure storage account and also requires you to provision the document intelligence service. It's like a service on Azure. It's like an artificial intelligence service. So the last of the forms, the fifth one, we're just going to add the phone number and we'll be able to train our model. So after adding the fifth field, I should be able to click train. Then every time you train the model, you create a new model. So your previous models still exist, but new training means new models. So we call this train 21st of October 2023. Add phone number field. So you don't have to worry about this for now. Just take the recommended field and click train. So it will take a few minutes to train. And when we go to models, we'll be able to see the status. So the training is still running, and these are models I've trained previously in the past. So we can test the model. But testing a model means we have to drop a file, right? I don't know if I still have those files, but let me check. It's not here. I doubt it to be anywhere. So if you don't recognize my computer, it's a Linux computer, so it might be a little bit different from what you're used to seeing. But I don't think I still have any of those files that we can use to quickly test the model. Right. Though this is not a recommendation, but we can actually use one of the training documents. It's not recommended, but it's something we can do just for the sake of this demo. So on the Azure portal, I can go here and find one of the documents and download it and use it. Okay. Let me see if I have it in the previous container. Okay, tax forms. Okay, so it's still the same documents. Okay. These are actually the results, not the documents themselves. Anyways, let's use the one we downloaded. So with this downloader, we can drag it here, and it's going to be able to load the documents and analyze the fields. Okay. So if we click this run analysis, we should be able to get the results of this analysis of the document. So let me just show the document. This is how the document looks like in the browser. It's going to take a few seconds to load. I don't know why my Chrome does this. I should probably drag and drop it. Okay, that's loaded. So this is how it looks like. You can see the name, first name, surname, last name. Okay, there's no middle name, date of birth, and phone number. Right. So let's see if our form recognizer was able to get it. Okay. So it didn't find the middle name, but it was able to find first name, surname, salary. Remember, this is not the latest model we used. Our model is still in training. Let's see whether it has succeeded. Okay, the training is still running, but we're able to test the model and see the results. So these are the results. We can now get the results in JSON formats. Right, so this is JSON data for our results, and it even gives us code we can use to, I think, to work with the results. Yes, in different languages, right? But this is the JSON document. We can load the JSON document into Power BI and able to run further analysis based on the results we get from here, right? So that's just it basically. While the scene trains, I'm going to show you how you can deploy a new model using the Form Recognizer Studio, or how you can start a new process. So let me just go to the right address. So we're back to the Form Recognizer Studio. Right, like I said before, there are already existing models and you can train your own model. See if you can recognize passports. So configure the resource group to pick we'll put the resource group so that it uses the document intelligence service, right? So if you don't know what the resource group is, it's like a way to group different services on Azure, right? On the Azure portal, you can see different resource groups. So this form recognizer I'm doing, it's on, I think it's on this resource group, either this or this other one. I think this is it. But both of them are basically the same thing. Lagos State Tax Forms RG, that's the resource group. So I just need to select it here. Select it here. It already has the form recognizer resource, and we can continue from there. Okay, it even gives us example documents. So this is an Indian passport. I think this is an Indian ID. Is this a passport? I don't know if this, okay. Our model training has succeeded, nice. But we have to recognize different IDs with this previous model. You see this for IDs, you can do it for different things, invoice, receipts, and different things. So if you look at our results, it was able to get the road, the postal code, and different parts, date of birth too. Let's see if we can see the date of birth here on this document. I don't really like this document. Let's try, okay, this is the date of birth. It was able to recognize it as 1988, right? So this is just one example. This is another example. This is a driver's license. Should be able to recognize the different fields on this driver's license. Right, so you can see first name, last name, address. These are different fields on this license. So the Azure team were able to really label these different fields so that you can use it normally. So for most, this was labeled on many different ID cards. So if you want to recognize ID as a business use case, you don't need to train another model. You can just use this existing model, right? But as for us, we already have our use case. This is the model we just trained. We added a description, add phone number field. So remember previously in this test we did, it didn't recognize the phone number on the analysis. It only recognized the name and I think so just the names. Let's check again. So you see it only recognized the names, the title, the salary. Okay, it did recognize the phone number. Sorry. This is the one we just trained now. So it's able to recognize the phone number now, right? And even able to extract it as 081054873 8732. Right? If we picked the previous one, this is the one I've trained before in the past, and we run analysis, you see that it won't be able to get the phone number. So you see, you can train your document incrementally based on your needs. So that's the basic idea behind the document intelligence service, right? So you can run through the process of creating it from this place. But if if you're going to use it, okay, if you're going to use it, you have to have an Azure account. So you see, it wasn't able to recognize the phone number here in this model because we hadn't trained it to recognize it in this model. But in this other model we trained today, this train 21st October 2023, it's able to recognize the phone number. You can use it to recognize even more fields like the email, the address, and many other fields. Even these other fields that are not filled, you can label them to be recognized, and that's it. That's it basically. So the overview is that you would have an Azure account where you can provision services, and you can use this Azure Form Recognizer Studio. You can use the studio to come and create new custom models. You supply five documents of your data, right? Which has the desired fields you want to recognize. Then you label them. After labeling them, you train, and after training, you can now you can now recognize new documents on new data, right? So that's the basic idea. If you're going to go through If you're going through the Form Recognizer Studio, you just come here and create a project. There are different steps. You add a name, you add a description. You can call this live demo session project. Then it's add a description. So we just continue. You select an Azure subscription, select a resource group, right? If there's no form recognizer in this resource group, if there's no resource group, you can create one. And if you do create one, you have to create a new form recognizer resource. But if right? That's what a blob storage container is. This is opposed to what using a database, because databases are used for textual data. So things that you can put in a spreadsheet are the similar things you can put in a database, but you don't expect to be saving a PDF file in a spreadsheet or in a database. So you store it in something called a blob container, right? So that's it basically. So you create a container from here, or you can create it from the Azure portal. If you do create a container from here, or you select an existing container, you select the resource group where the storage account is. And in this storage account, you can choose to create a new blob container or select one. If you create one, you still have to go to that blob container and add the documents for your training data. Right. You see here, I have these documents. Michael.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me? We can't see your
Yes.
screen.
Again.
Yes.
This anytime this happens, just let me know so that I won't be talking to air.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing again. Tell me when you can see it.
Yes, we can.
All right. So I'll soon be rounding up, but as I was saying, your blob container is a very important step in the process because that's where you put your training data. So here you see that we have Michael, Okoli, Osnachi, Oba, Rachel. So these are PDF documents that we use for our training. These other files are added by the Form Recognizer Studio, but these are the main documents, right? So if we're picking an existing blob container, it should already have our data. If we're going to create a new one from here, right? After creating it, you still have to come to Azure portal and add the documents. It's as simple as that. So after doing all that, we only select the folder parts, just continue. Then we can create a project, and that's it. That's the basic idea of creating a project from Form Recognizer Studio. It's actually very easy to do everything from Form Recognizer Studio. The only step where you need to go to Azure is where you need to upload your training data, your training documents. And once that's done, it's done, right? So that's it basically. That's all about Form Recognizer. So the only two things that Azure requires for you to work with Form Recognizer: the storage account and the document intelligence service. If you go back to the resource group that has our resource, you would see that we only have two resources. This is a storage account and this is a document intelligence service. And that's it. With these two things, train, you can recognize different data in different forms on Azure. And you see that these two things have been active since. I do receive $150 credits every month, right? And this is 21st. I usually receive it at the beginning of the month, and you see that I still have 120 left. So it doesn't take much being active. Although with use, it takes more credits, but being active, it doesn't take much because I also have other services running. But aside that, if you do get access to Azure, you can test it out. You just need to come to the Form Recognizer Studio and set everything up, right? Then you add your training documents to the storage account. And if you want to read more about storage accounts and this document intelligence service, you can always refer to Microsoft Learn. So if you just go to learn.microsoft.com and you search for it, you should see all you need, right? So we can come here and talk about document intelligence service and search. Should be able to get us relevant information that we need to know. right? You can always filter, and you can know what you're doing. You can check training if you really want to get things about training and learning paths. So develop solutions with Azure AI Document Intelligence. You see this is the learning path. It takes 2 hours. You can come, you can learn all you need to learn, how to plan, how to use previews, how to create new models. So that's it. So this Microsoft Learning Search is very, very important. So if you want to just read documentation, you select documentation and you'll be able to see the documentation, right? The documentation page where you can have everything you need to know, right? So that's it basically. If you're just interested in answering questions, if you want to see other people's questions when you want to ask a question about it, you can select Q&A. So I guess that's all for my session, right? It's a very cool service and a way of interacting with machine learning without you actually dealing with code or worrying too much about training a model. It's minimal and it's simple and it's efficient. So thank you very much for staying through my session. I hope I did not bore you out. So the slides of the session will be made available. I'll share it to Joshua and he'll make it available to everyone. And you can always watch the recording anytime you need to. So thank you very much. Over to you, Joshua.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Osinachi. We really, really appreciate. And we enjoyed this session also. Thank you so much. So I don't know, Alaje, do you have a question? I wanted saying something.
No, not really from my end. The whole process is very seamless with the description and the images and the presentation. Very, very easy to learn, to know, and to go about it, to navigate the Azure portal. Thank you very much.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much, Alaji, for response. And then thank you so much, Osinachi, once again. We appreciate your time. And in fact, I have keen interest for Form Recognizer. I'm also planning to build a project around Form Recognizer. So thank you so much. And I think this resource and this video, this session is going to be very, very instrumental in helping me achieve that. So I really appreciate, and on behalf of everybody participating in the camp, so thank you for your session. So thank you so much and have a wonderful night rest. Bye. Bye.
I was on mute. Yeah, I was on mute. All right, bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.